Them niggas scared to make that move, we can't relate to that. I roll the dice, shit, if I lose, I'm gon' be shaking back. Cause lessons learned within the loss just elevate the fact that trial and error just the only way, ain't no escaping that. I wake up, hit 100 push-ups, then I'm at my route. Check on my stocks, see how they looking, then I'm sliding out. When you start seeing your progression, you stop having doubts. And what's the point of having clout if you can't cash it out? True to this game, and I'm a lifer, ayy. Feel like we finna change the cycle, ayy. That's the most success, you know we thriving, ayy. That's the most depression for our rivals, ayy. Could teach a lesson on survival, ayy. You know I'm from the bottom. My pockets
people, your boy David.
And your boy Jalen.
Half of the Black Wealth Renaissance, man. Here, live, season 4 Black Wealth Renaissance podcast here in Dallas with a little throwback for y'all, man.
Yeah, a little throwback style.
The original format. Been, a little over a year since we did one of these,
Hell
man.
yeah.
But going back to the original format one time for the one time, had to throw it back. Just really want to have a conversation that our audience can benefit from. It's been a while since we've had one of these talks where we just kind of go into our thoughts and our opinions on kind of what's going on in the world right now. So, as we know, it's just a fucking recession.
shit not looking too good right now. You know, your dollar might not be going as far. We finally starting to see gas come down a little bit.
A blessing.
You know, that is a blessing. Gas is sub $4 out here in Nashville. That shit's still $4 something. So yeah. But yeah, it's a recession, and one of the things we want to talk about, us being Black Wealth Renaissance, how to be smart, how to survive these type of economic climates, right? And I think one of the very first things that we got to get into is what exactly is a recession.
Yes, sir.
Let's define what a recession is.
Just getting into the textbook definition, a recession is defined as 2 quarters of consecutive negative GDP growth, which means that the economy had negative growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means instead of us producing actual more money year over year, quarter over quarter, the economy is contracting. So,
and I'll give you exactly what GDP is as well. GDP is gross domestic product. It is the standard measurement of value added, created through the production of goods and services in a country during a certain period.
So, in a nutshell, what the economy actually produces.
Mm-hmm.
So our goods and services, everything has retracted, and now we're entering a time where things are becoming more uncertain. What's triggered this has been I'm
not going to just say, because I know where you're going. We're not going to say it's just that, but
I'm saying what's triggered this is the fact that the COVID pandemic, whatever you want to call it, whenever things were going down, whenever the pandemic shut the economy down for, it was like a month and a half back in 2020, we had that little flash crash, which was the correction that our economy was supposed to take,
mm-hmm.
but we postponed it with money printing.
Mm-hmm.
So the Feds printed, I think at this point, it's 80% of the money, the money supply in circulation since 2020. So, which is crazy when you think about it. So say, just for instance, if it was $2 trillion in circulation, now it's $10 trillion in circulation. And during that time, our economic output didn't match what the money
that was
printed.
Actually being printed. And I'll give you the actual numbers because I do remember doing a reel on this. It was $13 trillion that was printed throughout those, I forgot how many months it was, like 18 months.
Yeah.
But it was $5.2 trillion for COVID relief, right? So what is just the COVID relief and things like that? COVID relief was like PPP, getting the masks, the vaccines, all of those things was COVID relief, right? Also the small business loans, all of those things were COVID relief. Then there's also $4.5 trillion printed for quantitative easing, right? Quantitative easing is whenever the government, they see, hey, we might be going into a recession, like things are starting to look bleak. And then they'll say, okay, our monetary policy, the Feds, Jerome Powell, they're going to say, okay, instead of doing that, what we're going to do is we're going to give the economy a stimulus, basically, right? So we're going to stimulate the economy. And that's what they did with quantitative easing. And then it was $3 trillion printed for infrastructure. I'm still not seeing some of that infrastructure stuff, but hey, $3 trillion for infrastructure was also printed as well. So that's where that 80% came into play. Those are the breakdowns that were reported.
Yeah. So with all that money coming back into the economy, it ended up being a situation where, like we said, the world shut down. Things weren't going on. As you can see it across several industries. There are supply chain issues and manufacturing in industries. They had factories getting shut down. So the actual economic output didn't match what was going on. And we kind of entered into this, I say, like a euphoric type state where people
back to like the Roaring Twenties type shit, dog.
Like people was just like, bro, money free. Like,
I got it. Fuck it. Let's ball out.
Like,
crab balls every fucking Friday, bitch.
We eating crab legs. Like that little video I see. They gave you $2,400 to fix your AC, and you chose crab legs. And now look who boiling, right?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it sure was funny. But like, in all seriousness, it was a situation where we have now, like, we're starting to see the negative effects of that because the Fed has come out now and started raising interest rates,
which is called quantitative tightening,
and they've stopped the free flow of money. Like all these different stimulus packages and all the raising of fund, we ain't doing all that no more. The Fed, Jerome Powell, my boy, big Rome, he said, look, y'all, if we keep doing this thing the way we doing it, we're going to enter into a situation where we have hyperinflation. And what hyperinflation is basically what we were going through at the time, right? Whenever you have a situation where economic output doesn't match an increase in money supply, you put yourself at risk for hyperinflation, which would lead to the value of our money falling rapidly due to the fact that
it's so abundant.
We had so much money and so much demand, but not enough
supply. Yeah,
not enough supply. So money just started becoming worthless, and the Fed didn't want that to happen. I'm sure you and I didn't want that shit to happen, right? We wouldn't want to see the value of the dollar because, you know, that's been a big conversation, the value of the dollar falling.
And a big history buff. Once again, this shit happened in Germany.
Yes.
I forgot how many. Yeah. Like they literally used to have. You can Google it. There were wheelbarrows of money that they were going to the store with. Guess what they was buying them? A loaf of bread.
Yeah, because their money wasn't worth nothing.
A loaf of bread, dog.
So with that now, we're seeing inflation numbers at 40-year highs. We're seeing things have gotten a lot tighter recently, and I think people are starting to feel it in their pockets. So now that we kind of talked about what a recession is, we want to get into some of the ways and things that we're going to be doing and things that you can
navigate
to navigate this space. So Jalen and myself, you're 28, I'm 27. This is our first recession we're living through as adults.
We've been calling for it since the beginning of the pod, though. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Like we were like, we've been studying 08 since before we started Black Wealth Renaissance because we understood that
life moves through cycles, man.
It's a cycle.
You can't always go up.
And we've been on a bull run. We was on a 11-year, 12-year run. I think that's the longest run in the history of the world, actually, in terms of a bull run.
Maybe. I didn't look it up.
I want to say that was like the longest because a typical bull market, I want to say, is like 7 years.
7 to 8.
Yeah, and we were thinking we were going to see a contraction in 2018. You remember 2018?
2019.
That little recession. It
was pullback.
Yeah, like a little minor type situation, but we recovered and continued to go up and up and up. Well, it got to this point where it's like, man, stuff got pretty ridiculous. Like, and now we got to pull back and really get back to some of these key financial principles that's going to keep us grounded. So, one of the first things that we've started is the Stack Summer Challenge, because one of the things that we want to make sure people are doing is focusing on building their health, focusing on their health, building their wealth, and putting themselves in a position to win. So one of the key principles that we're focusing on actually is something we've been pushing at y'all since when everything was hot, was making sure you maintain a budget, right? Ain't that,
Exactly.
like that's it seems like something that is so easily to pass over, and it sounds like
because it's not
beating a
sexy,
dead
bro.
horse.
It's not sexy, like, and that's what a lot of people don't understand is some of the things that's not sexy is what successful people do to really stay afloat and to really just prevail.
Man, we were at the Momentum Conference this weekend, and one of the speakers, Buana, he said something that really stuck with me. He said, if you don't have a plan for your money and you don't tell your money where to go, somebody else has a plan for your money.
And they gonna take it.
They're going to take it. They're going to do something with it. They got an idea of what they're going to do with it. So
Even to like drive that further too. I forgot, I was either reading a book, listening to a book, but somebody else was like, how is money made? It was like, you sell a product, or there's like, no, money is made by taking money from somewhere else.
that's a fact, because that's economics. In order for there to be a winner, there has to be a loser. It's not always a win-win game. It's a zero-sum game. Going back to the laws of nature, matter can never be created or destroyed. Same thing with money. It came from somewhere. It came from someone else. It had to be made in order to be given. And that goes back to kind of some of the issues with the whole inflation issue, right? With us printing so much money without having an actual benefit from it, like an actual economic return. So, yeah, like one of the main things we're doing, just to kick it off, is making sure that we're maintaining a budget. And it doesn't always have to be something crazy. I think a lot of people hear budget and they think that, oh man, I don't make enough money, or I can't do that at my level. Like, but just getting good at managing where you are with what you have, because the next thing that we're focused on is increasing our income.
Yes, sir.
So what are some ways you're increasing your income through this recession, Jalen?
Man, honestly, taking this job in Tennessee. So I was working at home. I'll give y'all the full backstory. Like, even being a part of BWR, like, I had quit my job in 2019.
Same.
Like, quit my job. I was doing this full time. Was not getting paid for this shit though. Like, was really just working and putting in the work. And I was living off of some credit cards and shit like that. Like, we was just really getting it and hustling it. We making money through the business, but we was not paying ourselves. We was on the all money in Nipsey Hussle type tip, right? So back in 2021, I ended up going into the insurance adjusting field.
Licenses for
we got our
insurance
license
adjusting.
back in like 2019. I was working from home. I was making about like 7 bands a month working from home. And then I got released at the beginning of 2022. So I ended up getting another job in Tennessee. And in Tennessee, I'm making $40 an hour. I'm getting paid $170 a day per diem. And now I'm making like almost $14,000 a month. So that's one way that I'm increasing my income. But another thing is that money that I'm getting from that, I am now purchasing investments that are going to keep on paying me, right? So I'm buying REITs. I believe in real estate. I want to own real estate, and one of the easiest ways to get in real estate is for me to buy REITs. So what I did was I done my research. I found what is some of the best performing REITs. I looked up what was their expenses. Then I did a diversification of REITs. So I got REITs that are not just in one particular field. Like, I got one REIT, it only focus on like postal services type shit. I got another REIT, it's called like iCoal or whatever. They focus on refrigeration units. I got another REIT, they do data centers and stuff like that. So it was all things that I knew that are necessary and needed, but now I'm able to start making money off of that. Also,
Before you move forward, just to explain for somebody who may be a new listener, REIT is a real estate investment trust. It's a type of stock that you can invest in, where a company purchases real estate with the money that you raise.
I wouldn't say it is a stock, but it acts like a stock.
It is a stock, bro. You buy it on the stock market.
You can buy it, but some people like
it's a real estate company that's listed on a public exchange that you can purchase shares of that will buy real estate and for cash flow purposes. And from that cash flow, they have to pay investors.
They got to pay back 90% of their income as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want you to continue.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I'm investing my money in things like that, but I'm also saving to buy real estate. I know that 9 times out of 10 with recessions, the real estate market doesn't always take a hit, but I know there's going to be opportunities. There's going to be people who can't necessarily afford to pay their mortgages and things like that. So I want to make sure that I am in a position to really just, I'm not going to say take advantage of it, but I'm in a position to act when the opportunity arises.
Got you. So
What about you? How are you increasing your income?
So for me, similar situation, right? Jalen
Oh,
and
selling
I-
products and stuff like that too, turning up with BWR.
Yeah. Similar situation, but on the personal side of things, right? So similar to Jalen, we both quit our jobs going into 2020 to focus on the business. We were not making an income from there, but we always had the insurance adjuster thing in our back pocket. It was something that before we quit our jobs, we had gotten a license for. So for about a year and a half, I say, no, a little bit more than a year and a half. Damn near 2 years, I was really primarily focused on building the business. I take part-time jobs here and there. And most of my income came from online sales and working within my businesses. I started a rental car business, and that's kind of how I was making everything shake. But more recently, things have gotten tighter. The revenue online has dried up for me. I'll be honest with that. I got to a point where I became burnt out. This is a danger of being a solopreneur. Whenever you do things all by yourself, you can get to a point where you lose it, right? You so go all the time that you end up burnt out. So I went through a phase where I was burnt out and really saw a lot of declines in my business because I was trying to do too much by myself. And it led to me in a situation where coming into 2022, I started racking up some debts, started living off of credit for things that I necessarily couldn't afford. I became more leveraged, trying to get cars instead of putting more money down. I was taking advantage of this kind of environment where we can get cars for cheaper. So it ended up with me being more levered and putting me in a situation where I ended up with a lot of mechanical issues at the same time on my vehicle. So my rental car business took a major hit. I saw the income dry up in that area. So I was put in a position where I needed to go back to work for someone else. And the way I went back into it was through the insurance adjusting field. As Jalen mentioned, it's a certification that you can get that doesn't really cost a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. Like I said, we kept it in our back pocket. For $300, I believe is what our initial investment was. We took a class, and I just always had the license. So the first thing I did to start increasing my income was getting a stable job. I know some people might not like to hear that. I know for me it was a hard thing ego-wise, right?
Yeah, it was definitely a hard pill to swallow, dog.
I mean, I had made money online. Before quitting my job to work for BWR and do my own thing, me and Jalen both had jobs getting paid less than $30K a year. My first year full-time entrepreneurship, I made like $50K. And I was like, oh shit, we on.
Do this, yeah.
We on, baby, you know what I'm saying? But going through what I went through last year and kind of like seeing the rough times, right? Because we always talk about the good times, but seeing the rough side of entrepreneurship, it made me swallow a pill and go back to work for somebody to make some good money. So the first thing I did was secure a job. So just like I mentioned at the beginning, of the other episode, I'm starting my second deployment as an insurance adjuster. Actually, this upcoming Monday, whenever this releases, I'm sure it'll be much later than that. But that's going to be a job where I can secure at least $7,000 to $8,000 a month and use that to start paying down debts. That's one of the first ways that I plan to increase my income is through reducing my debts. Like, I think that's something that we look over a lot. Like, if you knock out these bills monthly that you have to pay, if you just throw a little extra towards your debts and try to get out some of these credit card debts, you'll increase your income because you don't have to dedicate this money to debt service every month. So that's one thing that I'm doing. The next thing is making sure that I'm getting my cars back on the road. So I had shit. I think I've told everybody in the room, but I haven't told the pod people. Like, I have 5 cars on the platform. Between hire car and Turo. 1 was the car we owned, and 4 were ones that I ran. I owned 2, my girl owned 1, and my homie owned another. In those 5, in the past 3 months, had 1 get totaled, 1 had a major mechanical breakdown, engine failure, and the other 3 involved in accidents. In fact, I just got 1 back and it got in an accident again. So getting that part of the business rolling back again is another way just to increase income and making sure that I'm diversifying the business, not being so reliant on these different platforms to make sure that my business is ran, learning other lanes and ways to do direct rentals. I think that's going to be a big one. And a goal of mine is to actually start working with insurance companies. Being an insurance adjuster, I've recognized that it's actually relatively easy to work with insurance companies with the rental car business. You just have to know how to navigate that space. So those are 2 of the things I'm doing. And then outside of that, this is not really an income increaser, but for me, just continually buying assets that I believe in. So right now we see the crypto markets, they're going crazy, right? I mean, like, everything's
Crazy
down.
bad.
Yeah, crazy bad. Like, shit is bad. So while Bitcoin is down, just making sure I'm dollar cost averaging into different companies and things that I believe in, so that whenever things do begin to turn around, I'll have these assets that I got at a lower price that have appreciated, that I can then use that capital to invest in real estate, buy other vehicles, those things. Yep.
Hey, I'm with it. And with that, the whole thing, we have an initiative. It's called Stack Summer, right? And what we're doing is we're challenging everybody in our audience, everybody who's following us on Instagram. You can join our email list, and you can join Stack Summer. If you would be interested in joining, you can text STACK to 337-455-7778. And what we're doing is we're giving you weekly updates, daily updates to keep you motivated. We're being transparent. We're showing you guys what we're saving with our stack summer goals. Every time I get paid, I shoot it out in the text. I'll show you guys, hey, this is what I'm saving. My personal goal is I want to save $1,000 every time I get paid until I reach my $10,000 stack goal. Once again, and then I'm also, like David said, I'm paying down these debts. We're also telling you, look, you got food at the crib. You ain't got to eat out all the damn time. Cook that shit. You can do that. Like, there's ways to have fun where you don't have to spend all the money, right? We're not telling you not to enjoy life. We're just telling you to be prepared for the opportunities that are going to arise. You don't want to say, okay, man, I had a great real estate deal, but I couldn't act because I ain't had a capital.
Yeah. And I just to go some even further on that, like with Stack Summer, I think we're kind of talking about that conversation we were having at first. I think people have gotten comfortable in a different type of environment post-COVID, where it was easier and money was more abundant, just to say the least, right? People could spend more because it seemed like people were spending more.
You could quit your job and go get unemployment and get paid more than what you was making at your fucking job.
You could take child tax credits and increase your income that way. It was a lot of different people were scamming on PPP, to be honest. Like, we know a lot of folks that ain't had no business that we get PPP money. Like,
I ain't gonna snitch on y'all, but I just want y'all to know the government, they gonna get y'all ass.
But like this, it's a shift in the mindset that needs to occur because we're entering into a different season in the economy. And that's one of the big things that I think Stack Summer is so important for, because if we can get people to change their behaviors and their habits now, whenever things do get worse, if they do get worse than what they currently are, like, I mean, we know inflation's high. We see a few things that are kind of rough. We'll get into a couple more things a little later into this episode that kind of play into this whole recession idea. You're just putting yourself in a position to win at the end of the day. Like you said, you don't want to be over here like, damn, I really want to get this deal, but I couldn't because I don't budget. And if I go look at my budget, I recognize that I've been spending $500 a month eating out when I could have just been buying some damn groceries and I could have stacked 400, 500, 400, 300, whatever the hell you could do a month. You know what I'm saying? Just so that I could put it toward this goal. So really that intentionality piece is one of the things that we really focused on with Stack Summer.
And Stack Summer is not just about wealth, like I'm not gonna say wealth, it's not just about monetary wealth as well. We're making sure that we're waking up in the morning before sunrise. We out here working out. We're making sure our body is right, making sure our mind is right, meditating, praying, doing whatever you gotta do to really reconnect and get back into, a sense of operating at a really great level. So that's what Stack Summer is about. So if you want to join, once again, text Stack to 337-455-7778. Yeah, do that.
Yes, sir. So kind of going back into some of the talking points I had written down. Kind of discussed hyperinflation, but one thing that we found interesting recently, a conversation that's been rumbling on the internet, is the idea of stagflation. So you and I, we've had separate conversations about stagflation. What stagflation is a situation where unemployment becomes high and inflation continues to go up. And that is a large fear right now, even
that
though
shit happened back in the 80s.
Yeah, and it was not fun for the people in the 80s. Inflation was much higher back then. I believe it was like, what, fucking 12%?
I don't know. I don't want no parts of it.
It was like double-digit inflation back then. And that's one of the largest concerns right now, is that we're entering into an environment where we'll see a situation where the economy has basically become stagnant, but unemployment's becoming higher. We've started to see a lot of major companies do layoffs. I believe Coinbase, Netflix. Did Tesla lay some people off as well?
Tesla laid people off.
We have big companies and corporations doing layoffs en masse, and this is just the beginning of the recession. So that's a concern. But what are your thoughts on it, man? What you thinking?
On stagflation in general? I definitely do see it as a concern. Once again, I'm a history guy, so I definitely go back and I look and I see what happened before. I do think we have a different monetary policy now versus what they had back in the day. So I do feel like the Fed and Jerome Powell are going to do everything they can to not get to that point. But I am seeing companies continue to lay off. I haven't looked at past week's unemployment numbers and stuff like that.
It rose slightly, but not a lot. Like the job market, from what they're saying, is still a pretty tight labor market, but we're starting to see a little bit of increase in the unemployment claims.
I got you. So yeah, I definitely, it's a possibility, and once again, anything is possible. We don't really know what's going on. Even the Fed, they thought that they're
trying to get this soft landing, but they can't. Yeah,
they thought that continuing to hit interest rates would change what's going on right now. But this past month, the consumer price index rose again to like 9.1%. Once again, another 40-year high. And another thing that we got to think about too, right? We're seeing the effects of 2 years ago, right? If we're seeing the effects of 2 years ago, we're not going to see the effects of what they're doing in the next month or two either, right?
Exactly.
So we got to give it time. We got to see what's going to be effective, what's going to work properly. So honestly, my answer for that is, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, neither of us know, right? But this is a good conversation for us to have, just because, again, goes back to that part of what we're doing right now, right? Getting in a position to make sure you're increasing your personal income at the end of the day. Like,
and another thing with that, because stagflation comes with layoffs, make sure you're increasing your value. Make sure that you are increasing your skill set. Make sure that whatever you're doing, you're preparing your resume. Maybe that's, if you have the money, hire someone to really get your resume right. Or maybe that's you taking different certification tests, right? Maybe that's you figuring out which industries are doing the best. Right now, all the oil and industry sector is doing amazing. Maybe you might need to figure out, how can I become a cybersecurity person? Things like that. You need to look at what does have the most room for growth.
And a needs-based industry, right?
Exactly.
Where people are, like you said, there's room for growth, and you know that no matter what, if this is an economic downturn or not, like you're not as at risk to get cut off. Kind of going to some more. I didn't think about it, but whenever we speak on ways that we're surviving the recession, that is a way, right? Investing in yourself and putting together things to ensure your value, right? In the world we're in, the IA world, one way that you can constantly shore up your value is through acquiring licenses and certifications.
Yep.
So I know I mentioned at the beginning we paid $300, took a class, and we were able to get our initial license. But that isn't enough to get a job. No. So you have to do some investing into yourself. And I think that's a conversation that needs to be had, because that's the best investment that you can make, honestly, is to take some of the money that you're making now and put it into into ensuring that you have the value, or you can communicate the value that you have to a job or to whatever you're trying to do. Maybe it's clients, companies, whoever it is. Because if you're not necessarily taking that time to invest in yourself, or using your money to invest in yourself, you can't expect to see that return.
That's a bar. And if y'all do want to learn about getting into the IA industry, I got a link for y'all. I can send it. My guy Steven has a course on getting into it. But it's great money to get into. You can get some jobs starting off at like $24 an hour working from home. Like I said, I'm making $40 an hour. I know some people who are making $30,000 in a month doing insurance adjusting, right?
From acquiring a skill set.
Yeah, acquiring a skill set. And even as far as those certs that we have, like even me, like you and I both, we're still acquiring certs to make us valuable in the industry. There's different things that you can get to perform flood, or to perform other different tasks and things like that. So we're definitely continuing to improve that, and improve ourselves.
Yes, sir. So I kind of want to hop in some of this stuff with the crypto market.
Yes, sir. Talk to me.
We talked about crypto at the beginning, how things are going bad. One of the things that I saw that was super crazy, we've seen Bitcoin and a few other coins take a beating. The Three Arrows Capital debacle, man. Did you heard about that?
I heard about it.
Yeah.
I didn't look into it a lot, but I did hear about it.
So Three Arrows Capital was a crypto hedge fund. Well, is a crypto hedge fund. They're like a crypto-based hedge fund. They've been around like a decade now, right? And they turned $559 million into $670 in a matter of a few months, with the way the crypto market has began tanking.
Wait a minute. So they've been around for a decade though, right?
Yeah.
So all of their funds is now gone?
So they were,
or just like the funds from the previous few years?
They became super over leveraged. Like, we were talking about at the beginning how we were kind of in this euphoric state, right? Everybody thought the money was just going to keep flowing.
The motherfuckers was doing that damn
margins,
yield forms and all of that shit.
They was borrowing money to invest from a lot of different places, and everybody called their money up at the same time whenever the market started to drop. And then after the terror thing happened, that was whenever
the straw that broke the camel back.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back. When Terra Luna fell off a cliff, so did Three Arrows Capital. So now, like, it's crazy right now to see it. But it makes me wonder about the future of crypto nowadays. Like, is regulation going to be the thing that's going to lift up the markets again? Because now seeing stuff like that has made a lot more people scared, and more, I guess, validates the idea of the crypto winter that we're entering.
I think we are in crypto winter right now. But as far as seeing that, we've seen this in prior cycles too, though. This is not the first time you've seen funds get stolen, big places, get hit or whatever.
Like BitConnect.
Yeah, BitConnect and all of the other
Silk
places.
Road,
Yeah, like
yeah.
that every market, if you really pay attention, this is why I'm big on history. If you pay attention, you can go see the things that happened before, right? Right now, NFTs, I equate it to the ICO
Yeah.
era, right? NFTs, like everybody's got NFTs. Everybody's making minting NFTs, printing money, right? Before it was with ICOs whenever Ethereum introduced the
Making your own token.
yeah, making your own token, right? It was so easy to make a token and then you can sell people on it or whatever, and people were getting rugged. People were getting rugged left and right. And it happened again this year. Like coin not this year, but this cycle. The which one it was? The fucking squid fucking coin.
Yeah, squid
right?
token.
Like that shit had pumped up like almost what?
8,000% one
Yeah,
day.
like crazy numbers.
But it was like in 1 second or like 5 minutes, like I think it was.
Exactly. Like, so if you pay attention, the reason why I say all of that is if you pay attention, it happened in prior market cycles as well. I do think right now crypto is becoming more mainstream though, because of so many celebrities endorsing it, so many people actually talking about it. So it could make people a little bit more fearful, those who don't really understand investing principles versus gambling. Because a lot of people equate investing to gambling. So if you're a person who was a gambler and you was just like, yo, where I'm flipping my money, what I'm doing, and you're not actually understanding fundamental and sound investment
That's all
principles.
niggas wanted to, man. That's everybody wanted. It's like, man, I'ma just like I hate it. They got motherfucker trying to scam in my name right now. I find you, I'ma whoop your ass.
They got somebody scamming in my name right now
He
too,
hitting
big
people
dog.
up talking about some, yeah, man, with Bitcoin trading, I've turned 500 into 4,300. It's
You
like,
bastards.
but that's that gambler's mindset that you're
Exactly.
speaking of. The person that gives somebody 500 to give them 43 back without understanding how this actually is going to generate a return. Like
That's why y'all payers get hacked by them fucking Cash App scammers.
like it's a bad mentality to have, but I don't think that it should affect people's opinion of the asset class as a whole.
Exactly.
Like, in my opinion, still, it's like some projects tried and true. Like Bitcoin, I always used to wonder like with Bitcoin Zay and why they would be so gung ho on Bitcoin. But as time has gone on, I've started to understand more that the crypto market moves based on the price of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin up, everything up. If Bitcoin down, everything falling. It's the longest standing cryptocurrency.
It never been hacked.
It's never been hacked. And even at $20,000, it's still worth more than it was
10 years ago.
Not even just 10 years
Fucking
ago.
yeah, 3 years ago. Yeah.
In 2018, Bitcoin was like
$3,000?
$3,800 exactly.
I started investing in Bitcoin at $3,600.
I'm saying like it's been shown through the cycles, as you said, when you study history, that even whenever it falls, it recovers. And a lot of these other coins like in Doge and these
But
little,
and even Doge has been here.
it's survived some cycles.
But you're not going to make once you understand the fundamentals of Doge, you'll understand why that shit not going to give you the money that you think it's going to give you.
It's not made to be an actual currency.
It was made as a fucking meme.
Bitcoin is designed to be a currency. The goal of it is to replace the dollar. I don't know if we'll ever see the idea of Bitcoin becoming the basic medium of exchange between people. I'd be interested to see it. I do see countries taking on crypto as like their main thing. We're moving away from fiat and moving into blockchain technology to manage money. But Bitcoin will always be a store of value. I feel like a digital gold. So I'm gonna continue buying. But that Three Arrows Capital shit is still crazy to me. It's
That
like,
shit is fucking crazy.
it shows a lot of the risk of getting just getting too high on your own supply type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it makes no sense that they was out here borrowing two mil here, 5 mil there from all these different companies and investing into coins that didn't have any intrinsic value. You know what I'm saying? Like, and whenever one thing failed, the house of cards fell. So it's really when it comes to that crypto stuff, I guess it's more about risk management than anything. You don't want to get too over leveraged. I know at one point I was ready to be a crypto crash test dummy, baby.
You definitely tweeted it.
I sold like half my positions in stocks and bought crypto, and I ain't gonna lie, that shit was not the best decision in retrospect, right? But I'm still sticking to my guns, and I'm gonna continue to buy into things because only buying into the assets that I believe in long term.
Another thing on the topic of crypto, I saw that Gap and other companies are actually licensing NFTs to put on like merch and stuff. So they actually got a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT, and they're selling it at the Gap. Not Gap, I'm sorry, Old Navy. But Gap owns Old Navy. But yeah, they're selling it at Old Navy, so you can buy a Bored Ape Yacht tee that they license from the actual owner. So I think that's really cool. The things that are going to come about it, once again, understand, study the markets, figure out what's going on, and really understand the true fundamentals of whatever project and coin that you're investing in.
Facts. Okay, so one of the next things I wanted to get into was some of the market stuff that we got going on, right?
Okay.
Like market bubbles. Been real big on researching bubbles and stuff like that. Two of them in particular stand out to me. I know with the '08 recession, the big thing was the housing crisis, right? We don't have an issue with the housing that way. I know housing prices are super high, but I hear MG, the mortgage guy, and Keanu Watson talk about it all the time. Like, a lot of people in real estate say that we won't have that same issue because there's a lot more oversight. Mortgage lending hadn't got that loose and reckless again. And the housing market is still
The supply
is still low. We have historically low supply, so it doesn't look like that would be a driver. But there are two other major economic drivers, like from a debt standpoint, that stand out to me, and those are the buy now pay later bubble and the used car market bubble. So
let's talk about it.
So buy now, pay later. If you don't know what that is, that's
Klarna.
Klarna. What's
Affirm.
Affirm.
Quad Pay. What is it? Zip now. I never heard about that.
I didn't even knew that, but like
I told y'all, buying them bottles on the farm was gonna catch up to y'all ass.
Yeah, you sure did. So that was the dumbest shit. When they said you could buy bottles in the club with buy now, pay later, I was like, ooh, this is not good. This is gonna be bad. This is gonna end badly. So recently, it's come out that 42% of the people who have used things on buy now, pay later have started to become late or delinquent on those buy now, pay later things. So that's something that I see will probably just continue to increase as
time goes.
The situation tightens, right? As people start recognizing that money's not as free flowing.
I ain't paying them fucking bottles back.
It's gonna just be a situation now.
I didn't drunk it. What they gonna do?
The cake's been baked.
I'm telling you, dog. I'm gonna have to come catch me. I know how y'all think, man.
But no, seriously though, like it's created a situation now where like we got all these companies that they were high flying public companies too. You seen their stocks take plunges, and it's probably gonna create some defaults and probably mess up a lot of people's credit on the cool because they decided to buy shit that they didn't need with money that they didn't have. So my biggest takeaway from just seeing this is like, bro, if you don't have the money to buy the shit, don't buy the shit. That's all I gotta say at the end of the day.
If you can't buy it twice, don't buy it.
Why would you? I just don't get the appeal of buy now, pay later to me. It just didn't make too much sense.
I don't know. I ain't never touched the shit.
Me either. You ever fuck with it?
He said, "Oh yeah, I fuck with it."
Yeah, you got to use it right. So I think the reason most people get caught up with it is because it'll be like
the way it's marketed to them too. Hey, only pay 4 payments of $25,
and it's like you didn't think about the fact that
interest. They go get your ass.
You got to pay interest, and then 4-5 months from now, you don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
You went buy something that was $1,000 and you didn't have the $1,000 at the time, so you broke it up into payments of $250. Now you had your car break down. You had to spend an extra $600 on that. Now you don't got that $250. You know, so you put yourself in a bad situation whenever it comes
Or
to that.
or you're like, oh, I can do this with that. You get addicted to it. You're like, okay, I can affirm this, I can affirm that, I can do this with Claire. Like,
Now you paying everything off on a monthly basis instead of just paying it when you should have bought it.
trying to
At
tell
that
you.
point, you could have just put it on a damn credit card.
I told y'all, hey, don't fuck with that shit, dog. Stop
gonna be
fucking with that shit, dog.
Put that shit on interest. But I do see some of those companies going under. I don't think they all gonna make it out of this recession.
Yeah, I don't know what they got. Hopefully they padded and got cash reserves and stuff like
I don't
that.
think some of them gonna make it, dog. I seen a firm. They I think they went from like 130, so they like under 20 now.
$130. They stock $130.
Yeah, bro.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, bro.
Just like Zoom was at like fucking 4 something.
Yeah.
How much is Zoom at now?
Oh shit! If I know, I could look though.
Yeah, hold on. Let's give you real time numbers.
Zoom. Shout out to Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is crazy. A Zoom is like $106.
Let's go 5 years. Zoom's all-time high was $500 in 2020. That's crazy.
Bro, I was off the mark. A firm traded all the way up to 160. Right now it's $26.
Sheesh.
And all those companies look the same.
So once again, y'all need to start looking into these companies' financials. Really start understanding what you're investing in. If you don't know how to do that, we got a great product for you. It's called Investing in the Stock Market 101. We're not teaching you how to trade. We're actually teaching you how to invest, how to understand, read reports, how to figure out what's actually going on, understand what these companies are making, and things of that situation. So if y'all want to get that, click the link in the bio. Go to bwracademy.com. You can get that.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you sending that plug in there.
Shameless plug, you know.
Hey, we got to. We gotta make money too, y'all. Y'all gotta come on. Let's
man.
get it. We trying to make money, helping you make money. So, but the other bubble that I wanted to talk about, the one that's more concerning.
You alluded to it earlier, actually.
Yeah, the one that when I talk about the car payments,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, exactly. And I guess because it hits home more personally for me because I'm in the car rental business is the used car bubble, right? I actually made a reel about it recently, talking about how delinquencies and repossessions are up in the used car market significantly during the pandemic.
When you say up, talk numbers to me, dog.
So typically, the normal repossession rate is 2.2%. It's doubled to 4.4%, which doesn't sound like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but
whenever you talking B's, that's a lot.
It's led to what's led to is the fact that we have more car debt now than we've ever had. Vehicle debt is almost equal to credit card debt in the United States now.
Jesus.
I think it's 9%. Don't misquote me on the numbers. It's around 9% of the total debt in U.S. households. So what we seen is
that's because y'all paying this down $600, $800, $900 down car payments and shit. I'd never.
Going back to the shit we was talking about at the beginning, though, whenever we was in this free money economy, nigga, everybody was balling. You feel me? We all got money in our pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, man. We gotta talk about it though, man. The payment. Like, I'm just thinking about when I would go get my damn truck service. These niggas tried to get me to buy a Mustang. Talking about, your payment would only be $1,200 a month. Bro. I said, sir, who about to pay that?
Bro, you'd be surprised. I think it's 10% of people right now have car payments that exceed $1,000 a month. The average used car payment is around $600, and the new cars are around $700. So you paying like around the same for it. And the part that's messed up is the values of used cars rose during the pandemic because inventory, supply chain shortages, right? Things got crunched down. But what we saw is now is people paying way more for cars than they actually work. Yeah. Like looking at,
I remember Bees actually tweeted that she's like, people paying for a Honda, a 2010 Honda, they paying $20,000 more for it based on the interest.
It's not even just off interest, just off the actual value. Like we've looked at Blue Book values on cars. It's common for lenders to approve people for 140% of the MSRP now. They would usually it would be like 105 prior to this. So if you were to buy a car that was $10,000, they would approve you for 10.5. You had bad credit, they would only approve you for 9, and you had to come with $1,000 down payment. During the pandemic, we seen. I'm gonna send the chart so we can show it. Like it's a rise in auto loan originations, like a crazy rise. Like I mean, it was like pretty stagnant for years, and then 2020, you start seeing this bad boy just go up. It's looking at it, it's like everybody just started going to get a new car. It's like I got money in my pocket, I'm gonna go get another car.
Do you think more people also started getting on like Turo and the
sure.
rental car things as
For
well?
sure.
You think some of that kind of played into it?
Definitely, and lending requirements really loosened during the pandemic.
Once again, that was part of the quantitative easing that we was talking about earlier. Like what that done was that the interest rates, it drove down the interest rates, so it made banks be able to borrow money at a really cheaper rate. And if they can borrow money at a cheaper rate, they can then lend out money at a cheaper rate to consumers. So it was much easier to acquire cash in the past few years.
And they were lending to just about everybody. And during the pandemic,
Niggas was like Oprah.
Yeah. You get a car. I'm telling you, bro.
You get a loan.
But no, the craziest stat I saw was that 96% of new car loan originations had no income verification.
Oh, nah, that's that housing bubble shit.
That's
subprime shit.
Here's the other kicker, bro. The motherfucking banks doing the same shit like they was doing with the CDOs. They packaging them up
and selling them,
rating them as good bond, good assets, securitizing them and selling off the loans.
Boy, I'm about to start me a car company in the next few years, boy. Because I know what's about to happen.
The market is going to get flooded with cars. And
all y'all that was buying these G-Wagons and all of this shit.
Hellcats, Scat Pack, paying $1,200 a month. You should have waited. Dog. So I know for me personally,
I ain't judging you, though. Live your life.
If you got the bread, do your thing. But if you didn't have the money to spend and things tighten down, you always should just think about that and what position you
might want to downsize.
Yeah.
Go get you a nice Honda Civic, a Kia Forte.
But hopefully you don't owe too much on the car, because that's one of the big issues right now, right? It's going to be a lot
underwater.
of people underwater on vehicles because
no money down and you can just walk out the door. Like, and that's one of the biggest things, me being a past car salesman, is like, people don't understand that part. You can get in the car for no money down, but what type of equity are you building in that?
None. You have none now.
Because the minute you drive off the lot, your value already going down, right?
What is it, like 11 to 20% or something?
I don't remember, but it's a good amount. Like it's down. And even being an insurance adjuster, I work with people who have total losses, right? So like I'm seeing people, they just bought a car a few months ago, they get a total and they're like, and I got to tell them, hey, your car is worth $20,000. And they're like, well, I still owe $30,000. I'm like, yo, that's the value of your loan and your interest. I can't do nothing but pay you this $20,000.
Exactly.
So get gap insurance as well.
Definitely have gap insurance. If you don't have gap insurance already, that's something definitely to.
And you also get your money back from gap insurance that you pay if you didn't know.
Really?
Yep, at the end of your loan.
So if you pay your loan off, you get your gap money back.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to know. Yep. Did not know that, but yeah, like if you are a person who's over leveraged on a car, it's not many options that you have. I have a couple cars. The Beamer, I didn't put no money down on that, so technically I'm over leveraged on it. I looked at the actual worth of the car. I think it's worth about 22. I owe about 25. So I can't just sell that car if I wanted to. I would need to. Which I'm doing is I'm gonna hold on to it, pay it down, use the money from the rental to throw extra, and those are ways that you can get creative.
I'm about to plug in Tim too. So whenever you're done,
whenever you're
done, I want to plug that in.
Yes, sir. So using that money from using the car to generate extra income, because I mean it's a Turo car. Anything that I would use as profit, just applying extra to the loan. That way, as the car's value depreciates, you're not as behind on the loan. That's one way that you can kind of find your way out of there. The other, I will let you get into it.
So yes, the other way. So shout out to my guy Tim Jackson. He actually put me on this hack. But what you can do is you can figure out your daily interest rate, right? Figure out your daily interest rate, and then you multiply it by 30 days in a month or whatever, right? And then you can actually contact either your bank or the person that you go through for your auto loan service. I'll probably call her contact the auto loan servicer because you can make principal payment only. But what you're basically doing is you're paying down your interest rate daily, right? So let's say your interest for
$2.
Yeah, you're $2 a day, right, for your interest. So you're gonna say, okay, what's $2 times 30? $60 for the month, right? So then you'll break it down into weekly payments. You hit up your loan provider and you would say, okay, I'm gonna start making weekly payments of $20 a week. Is that 15?
Yeah.
15. So, but yeah, you would say $15 a week, right? And you would tell them, hey, I want this as principal only though. You don't want to pay extra interest. You want to pay principal only on these payments, right? And what that is going to do is that's going to attack you from paying so much in interest, because now you're driving down your principal and you're also going to make your regular payments. Like, you're going to keep paying whatever you pay per month, you're going to pay that, but you're going to pay that extra on top of it. And it's going to drive down the principal amount that you're actually paying. And with you driving down your principal amount, your interest is not as high because interest is off of your total principal amount. So if you got a lower principal, your interest rate is not interest rate, but
you're paying less interest over the life of the loan.
Yes, exactly. And Tim was like, yeah, I've ended up paying my truck off in like a year off doing some shit like that.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
That's definitely another route that you could take. But yeah, man, if you don't need a new car right now and you don't have you're not in the situation to buy something cash or whatever, I'd say hold off. Hold off, take your time, reevaluate what's going on, because we're starting to see prices of used cars fall. I think over the last few months, they actually started seeing declines in the values of cars. Like some of the cars that you may have paid $14,000 for, now they worth $12,000. You know what I'm saying? So just be wary. Always remember that a car is a depreciating asset, and that the longer you hold on to it, the less it's worth. After the end of your loan, it's probably worth 50% of what you actually paid for it. So always be mindful of that whenever you stepping into situations like this. And if you like me, or you're interested in being in the car rental business like me, stack your bread right now, because whenever these cars hit back on the market, I ain't gonna say they're gonna be just super cheap, but you can get some better deals than what you're getting now.
Yeah, most definitely.
And if you're interested in getting in the car rental game, I do have a rough guide ebook that I put together. If you're interested in it, man, shoot me a DM. We can talk. I can help you out.
You can be his beta student. Make sure all his shit is on point. Shameless plug.
Just a little bit.
So we'll get to some of our last points. Also, so we kind of talked about it in the beginning, right? The increase in your income. So once again, we're going to drive this home. Right now, in this current economic environment, you need to focus on really increasing your income. Even with us, I know in past episodes before, a lot of times we preach, budget, save, and things like that. But you can't save your way out of poverty.
No.
You can't. It's just impossible. So what you have to do is you have to increase that income. And the way you do that is by, once again, increasing your value that you're giving to society. Yes. Whether that be through your hard skills, technical skills, soft skills, whatever it is, you need to start increasing those things, right? And
can we get into a real conversation quick?
What's that? Yeah.
Because I think whenever
getting into real shit.
We tell people to increase their income. Motherfuckers like to make excuses, right? They'd be like, man, statistically speaking, only this amount of people make over six figures, or this, that, and my job don't pay me enough.
Hey.
God, bro, fuck all them excuses. At the end of the day, I understand life hard. Life hard if you broke. Life hard if you not. But you can change your situation if you reevaluate what it is that you're doing with your free time. Because
prioritize.
Honestly, how much time are you spending watching TV? I know you need to relax and all that other shit.
Watching Stranger Things.
how much
watching
time,
P Valley.
like a lot of these things when it comes to increasing your income with like insurance adjusting, how much time are you spending getting extra certifications and doing little things that make you more valuable in the job market versus thinking of just talking about not being paid enough? I think that's a big issue. Like, don't get me wrong, I do think that wages in general need to increase. From 1970s to now, the average American isn't making more money than what they were. But who the fuck said you got to be average?
That's a bar. And I believe that too, because like I never in my life wanted to be average. Ever. I never in my life been average. Always been at the top part of class, like always going to perform. So you gotta have that talk with yourself. You gotta look in the mirror and say, are we gonna be average or are we gonna be above? And understand, are you gonna be below average? Because you could be below average as well. So you gotta have those conversations. You gotta really look in the mirror and you gotta say, okay, let's stop making excuses. Another thing is, I do think that we also got afraid of work, because I'll be even honest. Like, once again, for us, like even whenever I first quit my job, one of the first things I was like, oh yeah, I don't have to work as hard. But that's a fucking lie. Being an entrepreneur, you have to work even harder,
twice as hard.
Like twice as hard. Like
Especially
you think you're not you think you're not working a 9 to 5. Yeah, you're not. You working a 24/7. Like you always working. Especially even whenever, if you really want to have a successful business, you're constantly thinking about it. You're constantly thinking about how can I network? How can I tweak this? How can I make this better? How can I make sure that my websites are converting? How can I make sure that this product is actually adding value to the marketplace?
What's going to take me from $1,000 to $10,000?
You're constantly thinking of that, right? So even if you're not working at a job, you're going to have to work. But even with that, like with working a job, people going to hear, me saying what I make as an insurance adjuster, right? I'm making 14 bands. But yeah, I'm working 58 hours a week.
Yeah.
I work 11-hour days. My weekends are optional, but you know what my option is? Let's make this fucking money and let's change our position.
I swear, like with my job, I also work 6/10. So I'm working 6 days a week, 10 hours a week. 10 hours a day, 11-hour days, 1 hour lunch. And I say that to people and they're like, whew. And I mean, where I'm at in life right now, I'm 27. I don't have kids. I'm trying to change my situation. If you want to change your situation, you have to make certain sacrifices. And like you said, people are scared to dedicate that much time, or they don't want to work that hard on something. And I get it. Like, life isn't all about work, right? You need to do these things. But an old man said something to me one time, and that shit really stuck with me, man. 27, this is before I started working for other people again. He's like, hey, I was like, man, I'm trying to come out here and play golf with shit like y'all old niggas, man. Y'all look like y'all having a good time. He's like, young man, how old are you? I said, I think I was 26 at the time. He was like, boy, you got a long time to work before you can go ahead and just relax like me. And I was like, you know what? When did our generation become so disillusioned with the fact that we don't have to work to have the things that we want? Like, I seen a tweet the other day. It was like a woman was like, working 8 to 9 hours a day, 5 days a week just can't be life. And I'm like, bro, what do y'all think people was doing before this? Like, before we had jobs and corporations and stuff like that, you think life was just chilling all the time? You had to get it out the mud before then.
Even then, like, you had to actually work for your food. People were farming. Before the first industrial revolution, 90% of Americans were farmers. You had to have a farm. You had to go out, fucking back-breaking work. You had to hold the ground. You had to plant the seeds, feed the chicken, feed all of it. Like, whatever it is, whatever we're going to be doing in the future as life and society continues to evolve, it is going to be work associated with it. Yeah. And I do agree, sometimes I don't feel like we should be working as hard, due to technology. There are some roles that are going to be weaned out. But even if then, how are you going to continue to make money? Like, if you only want to work 4 hours a day, what are you going to be doing? Once again, how are you increasing your skill set to where you can be paid $80 an hour to work 4 hours a day?
Or you can have a client that pays you $20,000 a month. Like,
even if you have that client, you have to do work for that client.
It's no free meal tickets. At the end of the day, it's no free rides
at all. So y'all got to get that shit out y'all head. All of us got to get that shit out our head.
Yeah, fuck all that thinking shit about to just be easy. I know it's cool. It's cool to think like I just want a vacation all the time and chill, digital nomad stuff. And I mean, we can get into some ways that you can make money and still do it, but never miss the fact that no matter what you do, you're gonna work. Like I think the biggest thing with courses, right? People think, oh, I'm gonna just take this course. I see this person, they doing well, but are you gonna do the work that person did?
Yeah,
Because they gave you the blueprint, but they can't do the work for you at the end of the day.
I like that. And yeah, like with the courses, right? Even with blueprints, right? Like let's equate that to real estate. Because let's say you two people, right?
An architect can sell you the plan.
Exactly. An architect can sell you the plan, right? You're going to have one person right here, no blueprint, nothing. Hey, build this house. The other person got a blueprint. They got the plans. They got everything that they need. Who you think going to finish the house first?
The person with the blueprint.
But guess what?
Do the work.
The same amount of work has to be done for the house to be built. Just because I'm selling you the blueprint doesn't mean that the amount of work that goes in to get to a finished product does not have to be put in.
That's good.
I like that shit, man. We got to do these more often.
I tell you, we don't do these enough, man. It's been a while since we went to the original format.
Hell yeah. But like, you got to understand that just because I'm selling you the blueprint, the work comes separate.
Dream soul separate.
That's all I got to say. So let's get into a few ways that you can increase your income throughout this. We'll give you a few industries. I'll take two, you take two. The first two I'll say is insurance adjusting, because I said that.
A few times.
And the tech industry. I said, cybersecurity. Like, you can get into the tech industry. They are doing layoffs right now. A lot of companies are, but look at some of those tried and true companies. Even Apple is talking about doing layoffs and getting prepared and stuff for a downturn. But once again, if you have a really great skill set, if you're able to provide value to those companies, I don't think it's going to be as hard for you to get a job.
That's a fact. Because like at the end of the day, it goes back to what we were saying, like doing the work. With me getting on as an IA, right, I recognize very quickly, and Jalen told me this, it's a lot of people that be bullshitting, guys. Like,
They suck.
You can get the certifications, you can get the skills, but can you do the work and perform at the end of the day? And if you can perform, you'll always have
A job.
That's it. And if you're interested in getting into the tech field, we actually do have a partnership with our guy Taylor Tech.
Yes, sir.
He's a cybersecurity engineer. He's been doing great things in that industry, helps a lot of people get into tech. If you click the link in the show notes to get me in tech, you can get started on your career in tech. It'll show you the blueprint, help you learn coding languages, all that good stuff. So yeah, you can check that out. And two other industries where you can go ahead and secure yourself, make money. This is more to me on the side, entrepreneurship side of things. Shout out to our brother Andre C. Hatchett. He's been teaching people a recession-proof business, the notary business, for a long time. We've personally met several people who've increased their income through the notary business. Jalen was a notary for a while, still has a notary stamp.
Yeah, I still got it.
It's a business where you can get paid.
The reason why I didn't stick with it is, once again, the work part. I was rather focused on BWR than putting in the work for the notary business. But whenever I was focusing on it, I was making bread from it because I know how to set up a website. I know how to convert and stuff like that. So once again, the blueprint is there.
And with the notary business, like you said, you can make great money. It's about building relationships with the right types of people, title companies, different companies like that, where you're getting paid literally to explain documents to people and help them sign things. Like it's a very not as time consuming thing where you can make good money.
Some closings can be time consuming. It depends, but you're getting paid, and it's not sexy. Like, it's not sexy, so a lot of people don't do it. But there's so many niches, like even just outside of signing, right? You can do fingerprints. You can do fingerprinting for people who need cards sent off for different backgrounds, clearances, and stuff like that. You can also do what's called apostille servicing. There's if there's different documents that have to be sent to other countries, you have to get it what's called apostilled, and you have to get it sent to your state's, I think it's Secretary of the State or whatever, and they put a certain little stamp on it or whatever. You can do those type of services. So y'all definitely tap in with Dre. Dre teaches all of that, and it's some really good shit, dog.
Yeah. And the last one I want to hop into is the virtual assistant world. Our girl Annalisa put together something great with that. Like, I don't think it's slept on enough, but I don't think people really understand that you can just get paid to help people do minor tasks that don't really take a lot of time in the grand scheme of things. There are a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals even out there who have a lot of things that they need done that they can just delegate out to someone else who can get it done. I paid a VA $90, the same one that you told me about, to get me on 80 rosters. Listen, if it was up to me to do this, it would have taken me weeks to do this. But if you can find a way to alleviate that time requirement from somebody else just by doing some simple tasks, you can get paid really well for it from a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And Annalisa showed, I think over 6,000 people at this point how to, they're doing the damn thing over there. How the VA industry works. And if you're interested, it's one of those things that if you have a job, you can do it on the side and start building out your own agency, start building out something where you can start generating income for yourself. So that's just another way on a few of the things that we've thought about or even used personally that you can use to increase your income during a time like this.
Yes, sir.
So we can get into a couple of little last
house cleaning.
Yeah, we got to hop in the house cleaning real quick.
So I just want to say thank you to everybody who tapped into the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast. Appreciate y'all for tapping into this one. Once again, the OG format, us actually sharing our thoughts. I know y'all don't get to hear from us as much, but we do our research. We definitely nerd out. We definitely talk about a lot of these things off camera amongst each other. So we'll start doing more of these more often. Let us know how y'all felt about this. Let us know if this was helpful. Let us know if this put some insight and some perspective into things for you guys.
For sure. Yeah, and like Jalen said, if you found this valuable or learned anything from this episode, y'all please make sure y'all leave us that rating and review. If y'all got any questions, anything for us, y'all make sure y'all just reach out to us. Y'all can hit us up personally on Instagram. Y'all can hit up the Black Wealth Renaissance page. We're always down to assist in whichever way that we know possible. And last thing, if you're interested in any of those resources that we mentioned earlier, you can always reference the show notes and text STACK to 337-455-7778 to join Stack Summer. We holding you accountable to hit your stack goal. We waking up before the sun. We cooking this food at the house. Yes, sir. Running, cooking food at the crib, and we making sure we staying
right. Yeah, holiday.
Yeah. So join Stack Summer.
And you start seeing your progression. You stop having doubts. And what's the point of having clout? You can't cash it out.